Right, good afternoon everyone and welcome to this week's South West Herts TV show. My name is Diane Richardson. If you want to get in touch with the show, you can via Twitter at L4G Hearts. That's L4G Hearts. As usual, we have a really full show with lots of news from sports and also transport news and lots of charity events for Catherine to talk about. And we've got a double dose of Chris this week with him doing an interview and also talking about a new independent coffee shop initiative that's going to be launching in a couple of days' time. So, first of all, where do we start? Tania, you got lots for us this week.
I do, Diane. There's heaps of stuff going on. It seems as if Watford and the Three Rivers areas have become a complete and utter mecca, a complete and utter the only thing that happens here is blooming transport. There's masses of transport news. There's also some stuff about the bandstand, really interesting stuff about the bandstand, and some voter registration stuff in Three Rivers. So good stuff going on.
Okay, and Chris, you've got two items for us, as I just said. Perhaps you could tell us about both, briefly.
Yes, I'm in the most gorgeous setting of Croxley Green at the moment, and the weather is absolutely amazing, and I'm very pleased that the days are extending, because normally I'd be sort of doing this in the semi-darkness, which has been my state of affairs for the last few weeks. But
you put the show back from next week onwards.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So anyway, I'm here with Claire, and there's a fabulous group of people doing some wonderful things for charity down here. I'm going to be talking about that, and I'm also going to be talking about the Coffee Shop Union, which is a way of us building community much faster right across the country, one would hope. So I'm going to be talking about that a bit later.
Okay, that's great. Neal is away this week, but we're very lucky to have David Anderson with us. David writes for WD Sport and does a lot of the live blogs for all the Watford games, and writes a few other articles with Kevin Affleck on that particular web spot. So welcome to the show, David.
Hi, Diane. Yeah, lots of sport this week. We've got Watford's match against Leicester next week against Arsenal, obviously on Sunday in the FA Cup. Also cover King's Langley, Fullerians in the rugby, and West Herts in the hockey as well.
Okay, that sounds really full, and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Catherine, summer's coming, and afternoon tea and garden parties seem to be the theme.
Absolutely, yeah. There seems to be a lot of outdoor things going on with our charities at the moment. Not just registration for, as you say, garden party, outdoor bits and pieces, whether it's climbing, walking, or just having a party. Yeah, I shall tell you more about that later.
Okay, that's absolutely great. As usual, I'm just going to quickly review the Link for Growth events from the past week. On Monday at the kitchen, so Chris had more lemon drizzle cake, I'm sure. There was a
and today.
There was well, you need building up, Chris. There was a link for coffee at the kitchen on Monday afternoon, late in the afternoon, followed by the Link for Growth Mingle. So that was a good meeting, was it, Chris?
Yeah, the coffee was great, and Linda Hatchett to go to the Coliseum for something. So I ended up doing the mingle back at the ranch. But yeah, it was all good. Very exciting stuff. Loads of people get involved all across the country, so it was good. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. And on Wednesday evening we had Link for Drinks in Rickmansworth, which was a fairly well attended event. I think there were about 8 of us there at various times. Lots of interesting discussions as usual. One, two interesting thoughts about how we can continue to build the community in the future. And yesterday Catherine hosted a Link for Coffee at the Mercure Hotel on the A41 in Watford.
Indeed, it was a cosy affair, but there was some incredibly useful stuff.
Chris, can you just mute for a moment, please? Okay, that's great. And okay, so Chris, now you're interviewing Claire Cobble today, who's trying to raise money for ovarian cancer research charity.
Indeed, I am, and I'm going to just introduce Claire in a second. So, as you mentioned, there's something going on tomorrow, but there's a bit more to it than that. And I'm just going to put the front camera on so we can see Claire, which I'm just doing right now. So, hopefully, the next picture you'll see is Claire. So, hello, Claire.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Now, tell us a little bit about this, because I caught up with this from Linda at the kitchen in Croxley.
Yeah.
And because I met Susan,
Yes.
who's quite key to this, and we'll come on to Susan in a minute. But tell us a little bit about how all this has come about.
Well, this started, two local mums, Kat and Faye, have been raising money for ovarian cancer action for quite some time now, and they've managed to raise so far over £27,000.
Okay.
And this all started when their mum died from ovarian cancer, Janice Evans. So we have a big event tomorrow called Walk in Her Name,
Right.
which is a walk in Janice's memory, and hopefully to raise awareness and lots of money as well.
So tell us a little bit about Janice and what happened there, because I did read something, I think, in a local, something locally. But can you tell us a little bit about the story, what happened?
Well, the problem with ovarian cancer is that it's very difficult to diagnose,
Yeah.
and as with many people that suffer from ovarian cancer, Janice wasn't diagnosed early enough, so she died very young, and she can't see her children, her grandchildren grow up, and so her daughters, who are both local mums in Croxley Green, they want to do something so that less people suffer the same fate. And it's not just about the money, it's about the awareness of what the symptoms are.
Right, okay. So Susan is running in the marathon.
Susan Hughes, yes, local mum, an entrepreneur and school governor and all sorts of things. She is running the London Marathon this year and raising money. And there have been lots of other events already, and tomorrow is a walk, a 2k or 5k walk around Croxley, starting here at the Explore Church.
Okay, so we're at the Explore Church, which is in Fullerians.
Fullerians in Croxley Green.
So it all kicks off tomorrow here. What time does it?
2 o'clock here, with the walks, and then back here there'll be lots of games, raffles, cake sales, food from the kitchen and from the weaponised lentil afterwards. So lots of fun. It's aimed to get all the family here. The two routes, one of which will be a 2k route for buggies and so on, and the other one is a 5k route, more scenic route for dog walkers and so on.
Okay, so 2k and a 5k.
Yeah.
Has anybody got to register beforehand? Or
No, you don't have to register. You can turn up on the day.
Yeah.
If you want more information, there's a Facebook page called Walk in Her Name with all the details on, but you can just turn up here at 2 o'clock.
And if someone wants to contribute, or is there a Just Giving page? Or
Yes, all the information is on the Facebook Walk in
Okay.
Her Name. You'll find all the details on there.
So will you be walking through?
I will be walking and then eating lots of cake afterwards at the cake sale, definitely.
And is this your daughter?
That's my
behind?
daughter Chloe.
There you go,
Yeah,
so-
busy on the phone.
So fantastic. All right, well, thanks for talking to us. I know it's very short notice. You're a bit,
No problem.
a bit apprehensive about coming on, but it wasn't all that bad, was it?
No, it's fine.
Okay, well, thanks very much for
Thank
talking
you.
to us. Yeah. Okay, so there you have it. This is down at Croxley. If you're interested in participating in that, do go on there, Walk in Her Name page on Facebook, and come and take part. So I don't know whether you've got any questions there, Diane. Have you that I could?
How much are they hoping to raise, and how do you get in touch and find out more about the charity?
Okay, so what Diane's asked there is how much have they raised? It's 27,000 already raised, and what's
Yeah.
their expectation for tomorrow?
I don't know, as much as possible.
Okay.
We're hoping to raise another few thousand between now and the London Marathon,
Okay.
and then hopefully the London Marathon itself will generate a lot more.
Okay. So and the ovarian cancer charity, that's quite a well-known charity.
Yes, Ovarian Cancer Action. Yes,
Okay.
they fund lots of research to find treatments for ovarian cancer.
Okay. Thanks very much. So there you go, Diane. That's is that all you needed?
That's all I needed. Thank you, Chris.
All right, no problem. So I'll catch up with you all a bit later on.
Okay, thanks very much, and safe journey back to the ranch.
Okay. Cheers.
Okay, now Tania, hopefully the internet connection to you is going to work. I mean, you're only less than a mile away from where I am as the crow flies, but we've got a few issues today, so I've got my fingers crossed that everything's going to work.
Me too, Diane. It's cut out twice already since we've been on air, so let's hope we can get through this next little bit without another break in the connection.
Great, exactly. So, transport, it is gone.
Haywire.
Yeah.
Absolutely blooming haywire. There's loads of things going on.
Shall we
What?
start with the county council's plans for Watford Junction redevelopment, or transport plans and ideas for this part of the county, widening the M1, launching Watford's very own Boris bike scheme, Watford Junction being redeveloped, and so on, and then we'll deal with the junction stuff in specifics a bit later.
Okay. Oh, happy to do that. I mean, there's masses of it. Basically, Watford, Hertfordshire County Council is doing a whole new revision, a new idea, a new envisaging, a new visualisation of what transport in Watford is going to be like in another 10 years' time. And they're taking all of these ideas on board, all things that could change the way that we travel in and around the area for the next however many years. And all of these ideas that you've just mentioned are on the plans, are on the ideas. So there is the plan to maybe widen the M1. Now, that may float your boat, it may not float your boat. It may be something that you think, for goodness sake, they've just widened the blooming M1. What on earth are we doing talking about this again? It may be something that you think, oh yeah, that's absolutely necessary, and people are going to keep travelling by car, so absolutely that needs doing. There are ideas, far more sustainable ideas, I have to say, about the idea of getting Boris bikes round here. The idea that you go to a bike stand and you hire a bike for a couple of hours and pay for it by the time that you're hiring it for. You pick it up from one place and you take it back somewhere else. They're talking about redeveloping the whole of Watford Junction station. There's all of the stuff that we know is already going on about the Croxley Rail Link and the extension to the Met lines into Watford, all of that sort of thing. And all of this is being included in this revisioning document that Hertfordshire County Council has had put in front of its Transport Committee, that enables them to take a sense of which of these are the most appropriate things to take forward, which of them we can afford to take forward, which would be the best to take forward, so that they can start making that sort of evaluation.
Yeah, because you know, the number of people say who just go through Watford Junction station has gone up from 4.4 million in 2010 to 7 million in 2014 from the figures I've seen, which is a phenomenal increase, isn't it? And that is only going to get worse when the Met line is extended into Watford Junction.
Well, that's exactly what they're saying. I think the figures were 5.5 to 7, but you may be right, Diane. That's exactly what they're saying. As soon as that extension to the Met line goes through, that's going to get even worse in the Watford Junction area. So Richard Harrington, the Watford MP, is asking for advice and ideas and information to go back to the West Coast Main Line rail companies to say, you know, what are we going to do about this? How are we going to redevelop it? He's talking about modern junction stations, modern stations having broader platforms and better shops on the platforms and all of that sort of thing, and is asking us to have a look at exactly what we want from Watford Junction Station. He's also talking about other stations in the area, Bushy for example, also needing a bit of a revamp because all of this extra traffic is going to be coming through here because of the extension to the Met line and the Croxley line and all of that sort of thing. So he's actually asked for our opinions. He's got a survey out, and if you go to his website, richardharrington.org.uk, you've got opportunity on his website to have a look at the questions that he's asking, that he's going to then, on our behalf, put back to the train operating companies to say this is what we really want from Watford Junction and other stations in the area. So there's an opportunity to have your say.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, it's a huge issue though, isn't it? And I know they've been talking about the redevelopment of Watford Junction almost since I moved to the area 25 years ago.
Yeah, I think it's always been something that people aspire to, and well, you know, if the area is growing, then it's likely that the transport requirements would grow too, and clearly the area is growing with all of the development projects that we've been talking about over the past year or so. Huge development in the area, so we need a transport system to be able to cope with that.
Yeah. I was going to say, I was just going to add my 2 pennies worth, and it is actually vitally important that people do give their opinions, because the last redevelopment of Watford Junction Station was incredibly badly received, because they did so many things that people, after using it for a while, actually said this doesn't really work very well, like having the drop-off zone car park so far away from the station and people having to walk through the buses to get to the station itself, removing the taxi rank and having no end of problems with taxis wondering where on earth they're supposed to be and where they're supposed to drop off. So it is actually really important that people do have their say, make their opinions known, so that perhaps something could be done about those things in the future. My opinion.
Okay.
Absolutely right, Catherine. Absolutely right. And this is our opportunity to say this is what we want from this redevelopment. So yeah, really good.
Yeah, and last week we also talked about the Department of Transport survey. It's much longer than Richard Harrington's survey, and they're canvassing opinions and views as well. And there's a link on last week's show to that site, I believe. Boris Bikes, now, do you fancy a cycling day in Watford?
I think this sounds really lovely, actually. So, yeah, Boris Bikes, they're talking about doing it in between here in Watford and Hemel Hempstead, which is about 10 miles away, and St Albans. So there's a fairly extensive network that they're suggesting of Boris Bikes, that or the likes of Boris Bikes, things that you just pay a couple of quid for half an hour for, is what Boris Bikes are in London, apparently. So they're talking about a fairly extensive network in this Hertfordshire area to allow us all to do that. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, it sounds really exciting. And the other thing is that, talking of traffic planning and traffic congestion, there's a British Masters Golf Tournament happening in October down at the Grove. It's a big tournament, and they're predicting some disruption for that, but they're hoping to keep it to a minimum.
That's right. Yeah, this is. I have to say, having seen this, I did go to my diary and put in my diary that between notes is out. Take a note, people. Between October the 13th to October the 16th, the British Masters is coming to the Grove. Well, we're thrilled, of course, that the Grove gets this sort of business, and that brings lots of business to the area. But it is going to cause some disruption when we've got between 6,000 to 7,000 extra cars in the area. Apparently there'll be 2 free of charge car parks for visitors in the open fields off Langley Lane, and they'll handle the 6,000 to 7,000 cars. But there'll also be car parks for 600 cars accessed from the Hempstead Road. And there'll be other areas as well that actually this is a huge amount, 1,500 people I think I read here, that are going to come to the area that wouldn't normally be in the area. 15,000 to 20,000 people each day, with the busiest day being the Thursday. So it's going to be a massive amount of people in the area. Great for the area, great for development in the area. But it's going to be a bit of a challenge. I might work from home those days.
Good idea. Now, the bandstand's on the move.
It is. So apparently it's already come down. The bandstand at the moment has been just by the library here, next door to the library, for a number of years. It was moved in the 1970s, but originally it was in Cassidy Park. So as part of the park redevelopment, it's going back to the original place where it was put in the 1920s. It was commissioned in 1912, originally opened in September 1912, and the band that played then was the Artisan Staff Band, and it's going to be opened this year again when the Cassery Park opens. I have to say, I had a look. It's been sent off for redevelopment at a place called, now then, let me check this out, the Lost Art Workshops. And I had a look at the Lost Art Workshops. They seem like a brilliant little organisation, but it does look as if they might be in America. So our bandstand might have gone an awful long way away. There isn't a clear link to the date or to the place there, but it does talk about, as well as Berkshire, it talks about Rhode Island. So I'm wondering if actually our lovely little bandstand has gone off all the way to America to be redone, to be renewed and revamped and revised and restored to its former glory. Looking forward to it coming back, I have to say, Diane.
Good, good. And it's coming back in October.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. It was originally in the colours of the Capel family. Of course, we know we've got the Capel estate and all of that sort of thing. So, yeah, they lived at the Cassery House and was originally in their colours. It's apparently coming back in Watford colours. Exciting.
That's great. Now, Three Rivers Council are up for re-election in the beginning of May, as indeed Watford Borough Council are, and lots of councils in Hertsmere as well. But Three Rivers have asked for everyone to make sure that they are registered by a date in April for this election in May.
That's right. So the election is on the 5th of May 2016, and as you say, they're electing the district elections and the Police and Crime Commissioner. So if you want to have your say, you want to go to the gov.uk register to vote, and in just a few moments you'll be able to put your proxy in or your vote in to make sure that you get a vote in the local elections, and the deadline to do that is Monday the 18th of April. So you've got a little while away, but you might as well do it today. It's not going to take very long, just a couple of moments. All you'll need is your birth date and your national insurance number, and you'll be able to register to vote so that you can have your say in those local elections that are coming up very, very shortly there in May. Of course, once you're registered to vote, you'll also get a chance to vote in the EU referendum, which is coming up a little bit later in the year. So get it in there quick.
Yeah, and that's if you live in Three Rivers, and Watford and Hertsmere, each council makes their own arrangements, so they won't necessarily be the same in Watford or Hertsmere. Hertsmere, I think, has a slightly earlier closing date.
I'm glad you know all of this stuff, Diane. Well done, you.
Right, thank you. Now, the gift that keeps on giving, talking of transport, roadworks and Station Road, Rickmansworth.
It is, you're absolutely right, the gift that keeps on giving, isn't it? I remember talking about this back at Christmas and before Christmas, for some time before Christmas. Station Road, those poor people down on Station Road, it's been like, I won't say what I was thinking there, but it's been like a fiddler's elbow, let's put it that way. Whether it's open or closed or open or closed, there are once again bridge replacement works. They're going to be all over Easter. So between over the Easter weekend of the 25th to the 28th of March, that bridge replacement that we've been hearing about for some time is going to actually take place. Buses will replace the Met Line service between Moor Park and Amersham and Chesham, and Station Road will be closed itself between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. So they're doing the work overnight on Monday the 14th and Tuesday the 15th of March. Station Road and Station Approach, the bus lane will be closed during the period of the works. Homestead Road and Station Approach will be closed overnight from the 22nd to the 28th of March, and the A412 will also be affected. So if you're in and around that area of Rickmansworth during that period from the 15th to the 28th of March, then actually there's going to be some more traffic disruption. So just be warned. Be forewarned is forearmed.
Yes, I think you are. I think everyone should know the diversion route automatically. And the other thing is that Three Rivers District Council have said a big thank you to those who cleaned up for the Queen.
That's right, they did. I'm sure every council area had a group of people that were cleaning up for the Queen on the weekend of the 4th, 5th and 6th of March. Three Rivers have been nice enough to say thank you. The campaign that, of course, was backed by organisations like the Women's Institute, the National Trust, the RSPB, got people out just cleaning up their local areas for that weekend, and there were lots of purple bags around and lots of litter pickers of people going around and picking up any litter, any rubbish, cleaning up the area. It was ostensibly in time for the Queen's 90th birthday, but actually what a brilliant thing to do in any event. And Watford Council, sorry, Three Rivers Council, have said thank you to all the people who came out to support it. They'd said they've been a part of a campaign that's seen 1 million people stepping out of their front doors to make a difference to the way places look in every corner of the UK. I hope we all notice the difference.
Okay, and finally, the fire station over at Boreham Wood have been talking about fire safety for landlords.
Yeah, this is a really nice introduction, actually. So landlords have got a new responsibility. They've got to make sure that all of the homes that they're renting out are fire safe, or at least they're installed with a smoke detector. So developers in Linden Homes, along with 12 local estate agents, Sutton, Affinity Sutton and Aldwick Housing, are all in this scheme that's being focused on the Boreham Wood Fire Station. And what they're doing is they're respecting the fact, they're recognising the fact that the first 24 to 48 hours in a new property is actually quite a difficult time for people. You've got boxes all over the place and you're not quite sure where things are and how things worked, and the opportunity for fires to break out in those sorts of times, first 24 to 48 hours in a new property, is actually a little bit higher than it would be normally. So people are in increased risk of fire in unfamiliar surroundings. So what they're doing is, in that period of time, new tenants will receive a safety pack from their landlord. They'll contain a key ring, an easy to follow checklist and a home safety check request form. Most importantly, they will know that their property will be fitted with a working smoke alarm. So it gives the information to the new property residents to be able to be much safer in their new property. Nice touch, I thought. Nice touch.
Okay, that's very good. Thank you very much for all of that. It's part of the new law that came into effect in the beginning of October last year. But it is a very important thing, and the points that were raised in the article were I thought really interesting, especially those statistics in the first 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. Apparently it's a scheme that's already seen success in neighbouring boroughs, including St Albans. So really, really good thing. So yeah, interesting information and a good development.
Well, it's good that the internet connection to you stayed up for most of the time. I know whilst we were doing the interview with Chris earlier, you dropped out twice, but managed to survive this time, so thank you very much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. We got through it.
We did. I didn't have to do any of it, and that's always a good thing. Now, David appears to have dropped out. Hopefully he's coming back. Hello, David.
Hello.
We seem to have lost your picture.
Yeah, it's my internet dropped out. I'm back, but I'm trying to find out how to get my picture back.
Okay.
There we go. Can you see me?
We can, yes. Normal services restored. It wouldn't be this show without at least one major dropout, and technically
It's fine.
Okay, great, good. Now, Watford played last week, and they lost 1-0, which was the second time in the week that had happened to them.
Yes.
How did it go? Was it a good game, or was it kind of?
Well, considering Leicester are top of the league, I think it was a good game, and Watford more than held their own for an hour. Leicester, they showed after an hour that they deserve to be where they are in the table. I think Mahrez, probably the player of the season, took a touch past 2 or 3 players and stuck one in the top corner. It's tricky. I mean, Watford had a bit of trouble before the game because obviously they lost Miguel Britos in the warm-up, and Cathcart was already injured, which meant that Nathan Ake had to drop back into centre-half, where he hasn't played since he was very young. So it wasn't a good day from the start for Watford, but they did enough, and 1-0 loss to Leicester at the moment is nothing to be embarrassed about.
Okay, but it is a bit of a trend, isn't it? Is it that where they keep they don't seem to be scoring, and Sanchez Flores has said, it's an issue that's really there, but it's not a drama or a crisis or anything like that. Is this a case of Watford's forwards and indeed their entire team, because they've now had half a season of being found out by people, or?
Well, yeah, I think when he says it's not a drama, I think it would be a drama if they weren't comfortably in mid-table by Christmas, because if Watford was still in a relegation fight, then you'd be looking at this lack of goals and you'd be thinking that's a nightmare, and because it's a big worry for any team if you're not scoring. Igalo's he had an unbelievable start to the season. He was linked with a few big clubs. I think more just media talk than anything. But he almost, the cynic in me says he started to believe his own hype, and maybe he's got a bit too confident. Now he's stopped scoring. Maybe his confidence has dropped a bit, and they don't really tend to be getting many goals from any other players. I mean, Deeney scored a few penalties, but I think he's only got 3 goals in the league, apart from penalties, Deeney. So you start to look into midfield, and the way Sanchez Flores plays isn't quite as exciting as Watford have been used to in the last few years. So it is a worry, but I think they've got enough points already to keep them up for the rest of the season.
Yeah, because I was wondering if it was sort of the psychological thing, get to 40 points and everyone says safe, and they seem to have been stuck in the 30s for ages and ages and ages, and it's kind of, I wondered if the pressure was getting to them.
Yeah, 37 points it is, and obviously that just means one more win and they're there. But I do know what you mean. It seems as though they've got to the high 30s, but they've had a few tough games, and I think Man United away, although they could have won Man United, it was not a game where you'd go to Old Trafford and expect to win. Leicester at home again, top of the league, you wouldn't expect to win that one. Obviously the West Ham game's now been postponed, but they'll get there eventually. Like, even if it's just a few draws, I'm sure they will, but you just got to hope it's sooner rather than later and the panic can stop.
Yes. So you mentioned earlier on that Nathan Ake moved back into the centre of the defence. Do you think he could be a long-term solution if Watford are able to buy him at the end of the season from Chelsea?
Well, if it was a possibility, then I think it would be an amazing solution. But Mourinho leaving Chelsea, he didn't play the youngsters, but I think whoever they get in now probably will do, and I think it's going to be tricky for Watford to keep him. And I don't think anyone's really, like, everyone's hopeful, but I don't think anyone really expects him to stay for the end of after the end of the season. And he's a great kid. I mean, he's similar to my age, and he's got the right attitude. He can play left back, centre mid, and centre. And he was incredible against Leicester. Bearing in mind he's only played as a centre back as a kid, to perform like that was impressive, and it shows that he's going to be a great player, whether it's at Chelsea or anywhere else.
Well, let's hope it's Watford.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, yeah. Now, moving on to other Watford news, there's been a lot of talk about how Gino Pozzo is creating an amazing experience for Watford, and when you consider the circumstances that he took over the club with Baz, as he was known as, and all the rumours about lack of liquidity and nearing administration of bankruptcy at the time. I mean, he's done a fantastic job, but this time it's a manager who's saying that the board have done a great job, which is fairly unusual, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's something that keeps going round every season. You look at on every season up since they arrived, you look at the Pozzo family and you just think, wow, how have they done this with Watford? And when they were scouting around teams around London looking at somebody to buy, you just got to thank the stars that it was Watford they chose and it wasn't Charlton or any of the other ones they looked at, because without the Pozzo family, Watford would be in a completely different place. They've made a few controversial decisions. They got rid of Dyche within months of taking over, and obviously last year they got rid of Jokanovic. But yeah, Sanchez Flores is doing a great job, and whatever they do tends to be proven right within a few months, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does seem that way. They do seem to be very shrewd about what they do and how they operate. And it's not just kind of passion or a hobby. They run it. The impression I get as an outsider is they run it as a proper business.
Yeah, they're a really clever setup because they run it. Yeah, they run the club as a business in the sense that they're not just piling money into it and one bad turn will make the club go bust. But they're not running it like a business in the sense that Mike Ashley runs Newcastle as a business to make the most money he can without thinking of the club. So they've got Granada and Udinese, who might be suffering a little bit because of Watford's success, but they're balancing everything quite well. You can only look at the future as bright, really. Watford are in the Premier League, and they look like they're going to be in there for a second season, and it's all to do with how well they've set up in the last few years to build to this point. So I think it's a round of applause for them.
Okay, great. Now, this is time of year when a lot of the youth academy the coaches decide who's going to stay and who's going to go. Rather than go into a lot of detail, I know that you and Kevin see a lot of the youth games as well, the under-21s, the under-18s and so on. Are there only 2 or 3 players in each age group who have stood out for you, and if so, who are they?
This is a tricky one. I mean, Kevin sees most of them. I've covered a few of the youth games. It's quite a sad thing to say, but not really. I think if Watford was still in the Championship, you'd look at a few of them and say, yeah, maybe they'll stand a chance. But the gap's huge now with the Premier League, and you watch the games and they're great footballers, but it's hard to see whether any of them are actually going to make it into the first team, because the youth players that might make it into the first team aren't the ones that have come through the academy as much, but the ones that they've brought in, like Obiulare. He's 19, 20 years old, and he's played against Man United in the Europa League this season before he joined Watford. So you look at some of the local lads, and it might be a step too far for them to come straight into the Watford side, I think.
Okay, that's great. Thanks for that. Now, Watford have already announced that for the Arsenal game they've cut prices, and also for certain other games they've cut away fan ticket prices down to £20 or so. The Premier League clubs have today agreed everything's going to be at £30. Do you think that's going to help numbers of travelling fans, Watford fans, travel away?
I think definitely. I mean, you can't have every game at stupidly cheap prices, because otherwise there'd be no competition for tickets. But when you start seeing £50 for an away game, and especially this one where Watford are getting 9,000 tickets to Arsenal, if you start charging £50, you probably won't fill out the whole allocation. So putting a cap on prices is something that's been talked about for years, and it's great that the Premier League have finally succumbed to a little bit of pressure and done it. Even it's not the 20 that everybody was hoping for, but £30 is quite reasonable. The funny thing is that you're looking at the Championship now, and some prices in the Championship are going to be more expensive than the Premiership because they don't have this cap yet. So it's going to be a funny situation, but I think you can only praise the Premier League and say well done for doing what everyone wanted you to.
Yeah, and I think that's to do with the revenue models, isn't it? In the Premier League, it's mostly TV, whereas in the Championship, it's mostly gate money that generates the income.
It is, yeah. You need, if you drop down to the Championship, you're going to need that money to keep yourself afloat. And there's a time when Watford, if they had a half-full stadium, would probably be looking at the books and thinking, oh God, how are we going to pay the wages this week? Premier League, especially with the new TV deal, it's insignificant the amount of money you get through revenue for tickets. So you want to have a full stadium. You don't want to overcharge fans. So why not give them a ticket for a reasonable price?
Yeah. Watford have said they're sold rather more than 8,000 tickets at Arsenal, and we're going to talk about that in a moment. But I think that's partly to do with this capping, as you referred to, for the more expensive tickets.
Yeah, they were charging 36 for the lower tier Arsenal and between, I think, 43 and 50 something for the upper tier. So Watford have subsidised the upper tier, so it's all the same price. Possibly to make it easier to sell because they only had a couple of days to sell all the tickets. But yeah, it's a great gesture from the club. They've offered £1 coaches as well, I think. So it's something that they can afford to do, and because they can afford it, they should. And I think quite rightly they have done, and you can only say credit to them. Big thank you.
Okay. Now, we finally found out on Tuesday night who Watford are going to play this weekend because of the fixture congestion in the FA Cup, and was it going to be Hull or was it going to be Arsenal? And it turned out it was Arsenal, and they're playing at 1:30 on Sunday. The game is live on BT Sports at the Emirates. Now, the last time Watford played in the quarter-final was at Highbury against Arsenal, and I was there, and I saw both of lose the Blissett goals. So that tells you how old I am.
Yeah.
Now, I sent you a link so you could see your history.
Yes, I've seen the goals before. Yeah.
Now, is history going to repeat itself?
Well, I don't think Blissett's going to score, but if he does, then I'll be very impressed. No, yeah, I know what you mean. It's quite funny that it has to be Arsenal again, doesn't it? Because it's one of them matches which, if you're in the Rookery stand before the game in an FA Cup game, they always seem to play them highlights over and over just to remind fans what it used to be like. And now it's a stage where it can be like that again. And I think clubs have won at Arsenal recently. One of them was Barcelona, and probably Watford aren't up to that level. But
well, not yet.
Yeah, not yet. We'll give it a few years. But you never know. It's an easier journey than the journey to Hull, so in that sense I'm grateful. But you've got to look at your chances as slim, but it's the FA Cup, and the cliche goes, anything can happen, the magic of the Cup. 9,000 fans cheering them on. Stranger things have happened, haven't they? So you just got to...
They have. I mean, I went with my father and I was expecting to see Watford win, and they won. But so it can happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I think every fan that goes there will be more enjoying the party rather than living in expectation. But I don't think there's any reason why any club can't win at another. And Watford have done well this season, so we just got to hope that they get a goal, which is quite rare at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. Now, Wenger has described this tie as interesting and has also said that Aaron Ramsey might not make the game.
Yeah, it's a good thing for Watford. Obviously, wish Ramsey all the best because he hasn't had the best luck with injuries in his career. When you look at Arsenal, is Aaron Ramsey being out going to make a huge difference? Possibly, because he's famously scored a few goals in the FA Cup, but the players that they can bring in, they played a weakened team at Hull in the week, and the last 30 minutes they blew them away, and it just shows that when you get to that level, you've got the strength and depth to be able to withstand a few injuries, whereas Watford's, I mean, we talked about Ake earlier having to step in because two centre-halves have been injured, so it's a difference in level really when you look at the strength in the depth of Arsenal's reserves compared to Watford's.
Yes, and talking of injuries and Watford's reserves, Cathcart, Gerardo and Britos are doubtful, shall we say, for the game.
Yeah, Cathcart and Britos is a worry because the only other defender they've got is Pradel. They've got Belkalem on the books, but he's not registered, which means he won't be able to play. And the only other option really is Ake to drop into centre half. And although he's great against Leicester, he admitted after the game it's not his best position, and he's not got a lot of experience playing in that position. So that's probably the key worry. Gerardo, it would be great if he was to be back, but because Watford have missed his creativity in the past month or two. But I think the centre halves are the real worry ahead of Sunday.
Okay. Now, of course, if they win this, they play at Wembley from the semi-finals, don't they?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because apparently the press area is very nice at Wembley. But and I think the players are as well, because a lot of players, I think Prodal said so, Pantilimon as well. They're all looking forward to playing at Wembley, and it's for any player, whether they've played there before or not, it's a stadium that you'll look at and you'll think, wow, that's a stadium I want to play at.
Yeah. Now, Laura's predicted 2-0. What's your prediction?
2-0 to who?
Arsenal, sorry.
I can see probably a 2-0, maybe a 3-0. The optimist in me says keep it 0-0, go to extra time, and maybe. Oh, I'm sorry, no, it wouldn't be. So maybe go to a replay if you can, but no, I really can't. I can't see Watford scoring, unfortunately, and it would take a lot to keep out Arsenal's front three. So yeah, maybe 2 or 3-0 to Arsenal.
Okay, great. Well, on that slightly down news, we'll move on to slightly more positive news. Kings Langley won at the weekend, and it's put them top of the table.
Yeah, they have, and it was quite an impressive win as well, wasn't it? They didn't start their best, I don't think, but they went 1-0 down and then equalised before half-time and then 3 in the second half. So I think it shows that to be top of the league, you've got to face that sort of pressure, don't you? And to go 1-0 down won't always be the easiest thing. Away from home as well, you've got to be up against it. And Watford haven't been the best at coming from behind in games, and that's probably why they're not top of the league. But Kings Langley have shown just how to do it, and I think that was an impressive performance. And yeah, it sticks them top of the league, even though they've played more games than a couple of the teams below them. I think they'll enjoy being there for the meantime and hope that it can go on for a lot longer.
Yeah, maybe we should start calling it the Leicester effect.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I think maybe not quite the accomplishment Leicester have done, but it's definitely good, and it can only be a good thing for Kings Langley, obviously, to jump up the leagues and catch up with a few of the other local clubs.
Okay, that's great. Rugby, Fullerians beat Baldwin to stay top of the table.
Yeah, another local success story, really. It's not quite the heroics of coming from 1-0 down, but I think they started quite close as well, Fullerians. And top of the league as well. It was quite a close game for the first half, but second half they really blew them away, didn't they? And now they've got a cup game next, which is a bit of a rest from the league. But they can only look on and think, you know what, we're in a good place right now. And
yeah, exactly. I mean, they scored 5 tries in a report. Last Saturday. So that shows the team in form, doesn't it?
It does, and that's always what you want to watch. Whereas Watford don't get to score much at the moment, and Kings Langley are scoring a lot. Obviously, Fullerians are following their suit, and sorry, I've got a cat jumping around me. It's great, and you want to be scoring, and you want to be scoring tries, and if you do enough of that, then you're probably going to win most games, aren't you? So it's impressive, and yeah, it's looking good for them at the moment where they are on the table.
Okay, great. And finally, West Herts Hockey Club, men's first 11, had a great win at the weekend.
Yeah, they're showing a bit of the Kings Langley effect, aren't they? They went 1-0 down as well. I think it was quite a tough game for them as well. I think they were up against second in the league, but they managed to go 1-0 down and then find an equaliser and then a winner. And I think the whole club's doing quite well at the moment as well. The ladies are doing well, and the seconds and thirds, I think, they're playing well and they're getting results. And you can only say that a 2-1 win away at such a high-flying team's impressive for anyone, and you'd be happy with that, whatever sport or whatever division you're in.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, thank you very much, David, for filling in for Neal, and
no worries.
We'll like to have you back at some point in the future if we can.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thank you for doing all of that. Chris.
Can we have the cat back as well? We love the cat.
She's walked off now.
Oh.
Chris. Coffee.
Yes, hello there.
Hi. Coffee Union.
Yeah, Coffee Union. Now, I'm gonna drag. I'm actually in, believe it or not, one of the people that's one of the coffee shops that's gonna actually be part of this. So yeah. So I'm just gonna turn the music down.
The signal, Chris, is breaking up.
The what, sorry?
Not very good. The picture's not very good.
Isn't it?
No, it's not that great, I'm afraid.
Is it any better now or not really?
Not really. But anyway, carry on.
I'm on 4G, so it should be all right. But anyway, what the coffee union is, the coffee shop union, is about basically taking the local coffee shops and bringing them together so that what they will do is they'll work together to not only improve their own businesses, but also to kind of develop a concept of, like, a few years back, pubs would have been one of these places where you could go in and you could have a conversation with anybody that's in there because you kind of knew them, and that whole era has kind of come to an end, and if you go to places like Costa or Starbucks or Costa or Cafe Nero, you're still suffering from the same problem. If you go in there on your own, you're gonna be on your own. If you go in there with someone, you're going to stick together, you're going to talk to each other, and the staff are not there to give you any sort of help or integrate you into the community at all. So the idea is to bring the 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 or whatever it is local coffee shops together so that we can give them a kind of almost like a seal of approval, a kite mark, which says, I'm going to sign up to giving people great service. I'm going to provide local produce. We're going to give service with a smile. We're going to have a real local focus and give people knowledge and understanding about what's going on locally, and introduce people to others. So if people go into those shops, they know that they're not going to just be they're not just going to be sitting on their own, but actually it's a hub of the community where people can go and they know they're going to get involved in the things that are going on locally, find out new stuff. And of course, if those people also host a Link for Growth event, then I'm sure that the local coffee shop owner will bore everybody silly about Link for Growth. And I just happen to be with someone who does exactly that. So hang on a minute, let me put Linda on the front screen here so you can see her. Hang on a second, let's just do that. So there you go, there's Linda saying hi, Linda.
Hello.
Right. So you're a Link for Growth board, right, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Not by sort of like deliberate choice really, but we find very often when we're talking to people here in the kitchen, a lot of people come in and they are looking for community, for the opportunity to meet people, to network if they're in business, and to generally interact more with the local community, and Link for Growth provides a perfect opportunity for people to do that. So we very often tell them that we have meetings here twice a month, opportunity to come and meet friends they didn't know they had.
That's right. So the Coffee Shop Union, you're of course signed up for that already.
Absolutely we are.
Are you going to help us sign some of these other coffee shops up? Because a lot of these people might well think that you're competition to them. So how do you deal with that?
Well, a lot of people think that if you've got 2 coffee shops in an area, that might be competition. And I think there's a couple of ways at looking at it. I would say that there is an element of competition, but the competition is definitely good. And I would also say that if you have several coffee shops in the same area, that creates a certain buzz in the community, and it becomes a place to go and have a cup of coffee. So if you look back a few years, there weren't any coffee shops in Croxley Green. So if residents of Croxley wanted to go and have a coffee, they might say, well, we're going to Rickmansworth, for example, and people from the surrounding villages equally wouldn't dream of coming to Croxley for a cup of coffee. They might again go to Rickmansworth or into Watford town. So having now 4 coffee shops in the area means that Croxley has become sort of quite there's a bit of a coffee culture around it. It's a place to go and chill out with your friends. So if we all work together as part of this coffee union, hopefully that will increase our profile and make it even more effective.
And actually, you're right there. It is an underbelly of community. Before, we have to go out of town or out of the village to have a coffee. But now you can stay there and you're going to meet other local people that you didn't even know lived around you. So that's that. And that, of course, is what Link for Growth is all about, getting people to talk to each other. So it works really hand in hand.
Exactly, and that's why I'm such a bore when it comes to talking about Link for Growth, because I'm always telling people that this is a great way to, if they enjoy coming and having a cup of coffee here, meeting new people, then being part of Link for Growth gives an opportunity to do that, even more.
I must just say that David, who's the sports guy here today, this is his mum.
That's correct.
So we're keeping it in the family here, aren't we?
Just in case anyone sees a sort of like family resemblance.
So there you go, Diane. Have you got any questions about the coffee union? Now I'm going to say to you that as far as Link for Growth is concerned and Link for Business, this is the first of many of this type of thing. So we're looking at not only coffee shop union, but also like maybe linking up beauticians, nail bars, hairdressers, sports facilities, and linking those all together so they can all help each other. And the same with things like marketing and video producers, copywriters, people who do websites, photographers, because all of those people should be working together to help produce, to provide a local, if you like, hub of excellence for those types of services. So it's not going to just stop with coffee shops, because actually this is about bringing all of the local businesses into a community where they can all work together. Yeah.
Okay, that sounds great, Chris. And have put up both sides of the leaflet that you have that explains what the coffee shop is all about, so that people can see what is what sort of thing in terms of what the kind of services that are going to be offered and how it all kind of works.
Yeah, we could put a link to that as well, so I'm sure that when Catherine pops up the links, like she always does, with absolute ease, with absolute ease.
Once I've remembered how to do that, I'll do that easily. But and also to mention, of course, every coffee shop will have a nice green sticker in the window, so everybody can see who's all part of this coffee shop union, which is a fantastic thing.
Yeah, because it's always a sign of quality, really, and that they've signed up to it. So anybody that sees one of those shops with these lovely green things in the window, they know that what they're going to get inside this the coffee shop is a guarantee of quality. So good stuff, and rolling out in March. So we'll be seeing lots of coffee shops with those in the window, I am sure, during March. Brilliant, and all in the run-up to the Link for Business launch on the 24th of March. So if you're not signed up to come along to that, I will encourage you to do so.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much, Chris and Linda. Catherine, let's very briefly. I was going to suggest that we start talking perhaps about Watford Women's Centre's Yellow Comedy Evening.
Yeah, this was last Tuesday. There was a number of us Link for Growth was there, but also lots and lots of other people. It was really well advertised, so we had lots and lots of people there. Some people obviously from Watford Women's Centre and friends of the centre, and lots of people who actually just seen it advertised and came along because A, they know Attico Arts Centre, B, they know the Women's Centre, or C, they know the Yellow Comedy. And there were some actually that knew nothing about anything and turned up anyway. But I would say we probably had around 60 odd people there. There was certainly a scrabble for chairs before the event started, because there were so many people we thought they might actually be standing room only. But it was a fantastic lineup. Just to give a brief rundown, we had Fiona Ridgewell, Sean Doughty, Natasha Smith, Sandra Hale, Kate Jones, Claire Nelson, and our headliner was Eureka Katani, and of course we were excellently emceed by Andrew Carberry as usual. It was a fantastic evening, so all the proceeds went towards Watford Women's Centre, where of course our very own Diane has very strong links, and gave us a little brief rundown about the vital work that they do. So far, everything that's been raised totals £340.21, all going towards Watford Women's Centre. So we're incredibly grateful to Attico Arts Centre, incredibly grateful to Yellow Comedy for organising it, and incredibly grateful to everyone who came.
Yes, I was hoping to show a photograph, but I'm having a few technical issues of my own at the moment. Here we are. So yes, these were all the comedians who presented, and I think everyone had a really good time. And
the laughter started right from the word go, didn't it? So it just carried on all night.
It did, and it was great that they managed to raise a fairly significant amount of money.
Yeah, brilliant night.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, right then. The other thing is now that Easter is not that far off, is it, really? It's
absolutely. Well, I think the Easter eggs have been in the shop since Christmas, haven't they? But yes, we've got an Easter extravaganza coming up in Canterbury Park. Anybody who knows where is it the Char Cafe or the Char Cafe? I don't know, I get confused. But this is an event happening on the 26th of March, Saturday the 26th of March. There's an Easter extravaganza. This is centred around the Char Cafe in Canterbury Park. No need to book, just turn up from 1 o'clock until 4 o'clock. Yeah, go along and have a fantastic family fun day with chocolate egg prizes, an Easter trail and craft activities.
Okay, and because summer and spring follows Easter, as sure as night follows day, Hospice of St Francis are holding a garden party later in the year.
They are. This is on the 22nd of May, 2 till 6 in the afternoon at Ashridge House in Berkhamsted. That's Sunday the 22nd of May. Hospice of St Francis, obviously doing vital work again, just like our own Peace Hospice in Watford. You know, all these hospices do amazing work with those in need and the families. So this is a fantastic day to go along. They're going to have a shopping village. There's going to be lots of stalls, quality stalls from local producers and companies. There's going to be food, there's going to be jewellery, there's going to be home fashion, garden accessories, children's clothes, toys, plants and more. I don't know what more there can be. There's so much going on there. There's also going to be hot and cold food, so plenty to whet your appetite there, including Pims, I've noticed. So that's something to look forward to. Pims for the adults, scoops of ice cream for the children. Fantastic idea. There are advance tickets available from the Hospice main reception. Obviously, go and look on the website, Hospice of St Francis, and you get all the details there. Tickets are they're £5 in advance or on the day, £6 per adult. Children are free. We like to hear that.
Okay, that's great. And St Francis is also looking for corporate partners.
Yes. Now, if anybody's ever heard of the term CSR, this is what it's all about. A bit of corporate social responsibility. Any businesses, large or small, can get involved in supporting local charities, not just in supporting the charities, but also promoting a bit of community spirit from the business themselves. So I just went down a little list of what they're offering. Increase your business networking opportunities, create positive PR. These are all benefits for companies getting involved. involved. Open new media opportunities, inspire and motivate your employees, and display the Hospice of St Francis logo on your website, and they will do the same for yours as well. They promote you obviously as a sponsor. There are various different packages that you can sign up for. There's a bronze partner package for £25 a month. There's a silver partner package for £50 a month, gold for £100, and platinum for £200. Obviously for perhaps slightly larger companies. All the information is on their website. Fantastic opportunity to get involved and support a local charity.
Okay, that sounds great. And if you are a business, you might be interested in the Police Hospice. They're holding a free business networking evening. They
are. I was tweeting about this earlier this week. It's free. We love that word, free, which is why I picked up on this. So yeah, Peace Hospice in Watford, in their Starlight room at the hospice, they're holding a free networking event. The guest speaker for the evening is Charlie Ryan. She's the MD of CMR Recruitment, based in Rickmansworth. And she'll be giving the inspirational talk on the night. 21st of April, free networking. It's an informal event that starts at 6:30. There's wine, there's canapes, and it's a great opportunity to get to meet some other inspirational, motivational people, local businesses. Yeah, what's not to lose?
Okay. Now, we've been talking about this off and on for quite a while. Strictly Come Hospice 25th anniversary dance final is coming up in the next couple of days.
Yes, this sounds like a fun one. There's, I mean, we were advertising this in January. There's been a set of sessions going on for people involved in this, and this is all culminating in their grand final show. This is going to be at Watersmeet Theatre on Sunday the 13th of March. I haven't got a time. I couldn't see a time on there anywhere. So perhaps check back on the website. Must be advertised somewhere. But anyway, it's seeing all 18 amateur dancers battle it out, performing their salsas, their tangos, and goodness knows what else. Obviously, this is all celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Peace Hospice. And yeah, it should be a night full of glitz, glamour, and sparkling entertainment. Tickets are £16 and available from Watersmeet box office. That's Sunday the 13th of March.
And if you want a different type of glamour, in the shape of afternoon tea, Hearts Air Ambulance are organising a couple of events.
Yeah, again, not very many details on this at the moment. Looks like early days for this one, so have a check on their website. They've got the dates down for Wednesday the 1st to Thursday the 30th of June in Hertfordshire. There's going to be an afternoon tea, obviously raising money for supporting the Hearts Air Ambulance itself. So yeah, more details on that to come, I think.
Okay, and as usual, the Horns is full of music and bands this weekend.
It is. I was going to mention, first of all, though, as part of our Watford Big Word Fest, which started last week, anybody that wasn't at Attico supporting the Watford Women's Centre, don't know who that might be, but they might have been at Watford Coliseum as we had Simon Callow coming to town. This Word Festival is Watford's first literary festival. Is carrying on this week. We've got Michael Portillo coming to Watford Coliseum. He's coming to give a talk about his tales in you know, as an MP, and perhaps some of his other interesting stories, behind-the-scenes stories, perhaps. So this is going to be on Saturday, the 12th of March, Watford Coliseum, 7:30, £17 a ticket. There are concessions. But if that's not your cup of tea, you could pop along to the Horns and enjoy some one of their favourite bands. They've billed it. This is called Daft, with exclamations either side. Daft. So I'm guessing this is a fun top covers band. There's 5 professional stand-up musicians, high quality, high energy, dynamic gigs across the home counties. They're renowned for their skills. They'll include a whole range of rock anthems, let's call them, including Queen, Guns N' Roses, The Killers, Fratellis, Green Day. This is on Saturday, 12th of March, if you're not into the Michael Portillo thing, 9 till 1 at the Horns, and it's free.
Sounds like a time machine.
Actually, you could possibly do both, actually, couldn't you? You could do the Coliseum and then go along to the Horns afterwards.
You could, yes. Anything from the Palace or the Coliseum?
my daughter and a boyfriend went to see A Raisin in the Sun, which is at Watford Palace Theatre at the moment. Anybody that doesn't know what this is all about, I'll read you the quote from the Palace Theatre website. A ferocious portrayal of working class life on the cusp of the civil rights era. Lorraine Hansberry's landmark drama bursts with intense family conflict, racial politics and social consciousness. So this is anybody who's into a good drama, good political content, and some fabulous actors. So yeah, this is only on for another 3 nights, I believe. So that's tonight, Saturday and Sunday. Tickets are priced from £11.50 up to £20, depending on who you are and where you want to sit. So that's Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the Palace.
Okay, well, that sounds really good. I'm just briefly going to go and talk about what's happening for Link for Growth this week. Monday, there's a Link for Coffee at Reason Coffee Shop. Hopefully Neal will be back and serving the usual high-quality coffees and everything that he serves there. Then Tuesday, Chris has got yet another opportunity to try out the lemon drizzle cake at the kitchen to make sure it's up to snuff. I think Linda should pay Chris as a kind of quality tester, quality assurance person.
An ambassador, a drizzle ambassador.
Yes, I definitely think that's the case. That's happening at 10 o'clock on Tuesday morning. If you don't know where the kitchen is, it's down by Croxley Underground Station, and that parade of shops kind of like that run parallel with the line. And then on Thursday, there's Link for Drinks at Moon Under the Water on Watford High Street from 6 o'clock onwards. That's usually a well-attended event. I think it's not unknown in the past to have over 20-25 people there, so that's usually a great evening. Finally, Catherine.
Yes.
Restaurant review, please.
Talking of drinks, this is not a restaurant per se. This is a pub, but it's got great food. This is the Nascot Arms I'm reviewing today. A little bit of promotion. I'm also supposed to be going there this evening as well, so I'm looking forward to going there again. I remember years and years ago when our first daughter was born, this was the pub we used to go to. It was a lovely summer when Ria was born 20 years ago, nearly 21 years ago. And as a babe in her little cart, we'd stick her under the table and enjoy a nice pint in their garden out the back. But anyway, that's by the by. But yeah, Nascot Arms. They do a good range of real ales. I will try and call up very quickly what they've got. Breweries Green King, Osset and Hook Norton. So any real ale drinkers, camera members out there will know all about the Nascot Arms already. They do a great real ale, cask ales and guest ales. Also, obviously, a good range of lager and wines as well. But they also do fantastic Thai food. Now, anybody that's had their Thai food before will naturally be singing its praises. They've got a good team of chefs. You can eat in, you can take it away. Not delivery, but you'd have to go and pick it up. But really good quality food, good quality drinks, fabulous atmosphere, very, very friendly staff, friendly bar. So they've got a nice little outdoor area there as well. Get yourself down to the Nascot Arms. I'll see you there tonight.
Okay, that sounds excellent. And that's it for this week. And first of all, I'd like to say thank you to Tania, who's managed to stay on the line for the whole hour, which was fabulous, because we lost her about 3 times before the show started, and twice during the very first couple of minutes of it. So well done, Tania. Thank you for hanging around.
Thank you very much, Dan. Thank you. See you next week.
Thank you, and thank you very much to David for his insights into Watford and the other local sports news. That was really good, and do come back at some point in the future, David.
Thanks for having me. It's been very good.
Okay, that's great, and thank you also to Catherine for all your restaurant reviews and charity events news.
And my general ramblings at the end of the show. Thank you, Diane.
Okay, and that's it for this week, and we'll be back next week with another Link for Growth South West Herts TV show. If you do have any questions or issues you want to raise with us, then please do get in touch with us via Twitter at L4G SW Herts. That's at L4G SW Herts. And on that note, it's time to say bye-bye.